Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4 dropped recently, and it was certainly one of the most shocking ones in the entire series for both good and bad reasons. While there was a lot that fans were excited about in the chapter, it was also full of stuff that, at the end of the day, was upsetting to quite a lot of them. One of the most interesting things in the chapter was the fate of Sasuke Uchiha, which was finally revealed, and at the same time, the emergence of a new villain, which appears to be a clone of the Ten Tails, based on Sasuke Uchiha himself. Before we dive in, why don't you throw that like button into the ocean and please subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any uploads. First, let's talk about the fate of Sasuke. Fans did not get to see any of the Boruto time skip, which is usually how most series deal with these events. In the very first chapter, however, Sasuke was nowhere to be seen. Fans knew something was not right because Sasuke is a character that usually leads from the front. There was absolutely no way that Sasuke would let Boruto take the brunt of the load and simply not take part in protecting his own village. The only possibilities in front of the fans was that either Sasuke was on a different mission or he was incapacitated in some way. Major hints were dropped about Sasuke's fate as Boruto's fight against Code progressed. Code mentioned having chased down both Boruto Uzumaki and Sasuke during the time skip. According to him, Boruto kept running away from him, and his hunt eventually led him to Konoha. It is likely that Sasuke met his cruel fate during one of these encounters. Fans had already started to theorize the fact that Code killed Sasuke during the time skip. However, it was clear to see that the authors of Boruto wouldn't kill Sasuke and risk losing their entire fanbase. Instead, they chose a very different approach. Eventually, in Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4, it was finally revealed that Sasuke had faced a very sad fate. Essentially, Sasuke was turned into a tree in Boruto. While that might actually sound absurd to the fans, it did end up happening, and the person who made this possible was none other than Code. Fans know that Code used his claw marks to shrink down the Ten Tails into humanoid grimes. These grimes were seen in action in Konoha recently, and one of their abilities appears to be to turn people into trees by consuming their chakra. These grimes bite down on people in an attempt to eat them. When they are bitten, they start turning into trees, and it is believed that their chakra is sucked out, rendering them unconscious. Fans already saw this happening in Konoha, and Sarada was the one who deduced that the person inside the tree was still alive, however, barely. She also believed that there is a way to save these people, and unbeknownst to the fans, that was the fate that Sasuke was facing as well. In Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4, it was revealed that Sasuke had faced a similar fate at the hands of one of the claw grimes that Code created. Essentially, at some point during the 3-year time skip, Code fought against Sasuke in Boruto, and it is likely during these encounters that he made use of the claw grimes as well. It is likely that Sasuke was taken by surprise and bitten by one of them, which would then have turned him into this gigantic tree. Sasuke is now unconscious and completely cut away from the main story of Boruto. Things get even better in Boruto as it is revealed that the Ten Tails has started to evolve. It has started to develop its own conscience and is now taking its own decisions. Essentially, the Ten Tails is now stronger than ever before, and that means it has gained the ability to evolve. The Ten Tails has evolved beyond just biting the nearest source of chakra and draining it. Now it is a real threat to humanity, which is exactly what Boruto feared. In Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 4, the Ten Tails that Code had incapacitated simply vanished all of a sudden. Later on, fans saw 4 different humanoid clones appearing out of nowhere, and it is believed that the Ten Tails decided to recreate itself in these clones. These clones are not just based on random characters. In fact, they are based on those who are trapped within the trees that the grimes ended up creating after biting people. Since their chakra has been sucked out and is stored within the god trees, the beast knows everything about them and can successfully clone them as well. That is precisely how these Shinju clones came to be, and Sasuke Uchiha also has a Shinju clone now. As soon as the 4 clones appeared in front of Boruto, the Sasuke Shinju clone caught his eye immediately. In fact, the clone immediately attacked Boruto as well without a second notice. It was clear to see that the strength of this clone was astronomical, and it easily managed to overpower Boruto. In fact, the clone even behaves like Sasuke and attacks similarly to him. Fans saw the clone make use of lightning release, which fans know is Sasuke's go-to nature transformation. Boruto managed to counter this with a Rasengan of his own. However, he knew that he could not defeat him or the other Shinju clones in battle, which is why he decided to retreat. Furthermore, every single Shinju clone that was created also seems to possess a Rinnegan. Sasuke Uchiha likely has 2 Rinnegan as well, and one of them was clearly visible to the fans. This spells danger for the ninja world, since these four monstrously powerful fighters now need to be taken down in combat somehow. The fact is, this version of Sasuke is incredibly difficult to fight against, given that he is one of the strongest ninjas to have ever lived. This isn't even a nerfed version of Sasuke. The Shinju clone of Sasuke is blessed with the power of the Rinnegan, and at the same time has all of Sasuke's abilities at its very best. On top of that, it has a 10 tails boost and both arms too. As seen previously, it can also mold its arms into various appendages to attack those around it. Sasuke's Shinju clone was able to create a sword out of his hand and attack Boruto with it. It can also likely use other powerful abilities of the 10 tails, and the fact is that these clones are still evolving. It was made very clear by them that the process of evolution hasn't stopped just yet, and that they aim on getting even stronger. With Sasuke Uchiha's clone here, Boruto is now more intense than ever before, as only by defeating this clone can Sasuke likely be freed, and that means Boruto will have to fight against a clone of his own master. The big question is, are Naruto and Sasuke dead? The fate of Naruto and Sasuke has always been in question, especially in the Boruto series. With stronger enemies targeting Earth following the conclusion of the Fourth Great Ninja War, fans knew that both Naruto and Sasuke would be in danger. Thankfully, it was recently clarified that neither Naruto nor Sasuke are dead. However, their fates aren't certainly good either. Naruto Uzumaki was severely incapacitated by Kawaki and sealed away in the dimension of Daikokaten. Meanwhile, Sasuke Uchiha was seen taking part in combat against the 10 Tails Grimes. They ended up turning him into some sort of a god tree, and as a result, he is now crippled as well. While both of them are alive, their roles in the Boruto series have diminished greatly. But I have a question on my mind. Does Sasuke Evil Clone have the ability of the EMS? To put it simple, is it able to use the Susanoo? Well, personally, I think it doesn't have the ability of EMS. I have a reason for that thought. Since all the Shinju clones we've seen have 2 Rinnegans in both eyes, Sasuke's Shinju clone might also have 2 Rinnegan. We know if an Uchiha has a Rinnegan in both eyes, they won't be able to use the EMS, but this rule doesn't apply to Madara since Madara awakened his naturally, but it does apply to Sasuke. But I'm not sure because we only saw 1 Rinnegan from his clone, but there's a possibility that it has an EMS on its left eye. The only reason we can't see its left eye is because that eye is covered. But let's say it does have 2 Rinnegans in both eyes. If it does have 2 Rinnegans, it won't be able to use the abilities of the EMS unless it has the ability to deactivate the Rinnegan, just like Madara. But since Sasuke had a Rinnegan with 6 Tomos, the Shinju clone might also have the 6 Tomo Rinnegan, which would allow it to use both abilities of the EMS and Rinnegan. Anyway, am I the only one who thinks this Shinju clone kinda looks like Jigen? Let's just hope more about these clones would be revealed in Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 5. Those were my thoughts. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And please subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any uploads.